everybody. So welcome to me on my platforms. Today I wanted to, as we round off Friday, I wanted to bring in front of you Lisa Mitchell. We've been supporting her launch of the Visionary Founders podcast this week, and I thought it'd be interesting for you to hear a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes when we have a podcast launch. So, hey Lisa, how are you? Tell us about what this week's been like for you.
Gosh, it's been intense, and Anna told me it would be intense, and I didn't really fathom exactly what that meant. So, if I had my time again, I'd have cleared more of my diary this week of my normal work. But do you know, actually, it's been really amazing. I've launched anything really in this way before, and I've just had the most amazing feedback. That's been one of the nicest things for me, because I launched the podcast to have more impact, to get my voice out into the world, which is obviously why I came to you. And to just, I've just had this sense that I want to have a bigger impact in the world and get people to really hear what I need to say. And I feel like I've really done that this week. And I definitely could not have done it without you. I mean, I have no idea of all the machinations behind the scenes, but I'm very grateful for it all. Because I know.
Well, that's nice to hear. I mean, we had an added challenge with your show because Apple updated a few days ago, which caused all of the systems behind the scenes in the whole podcast space to kind of go a little bit wonky.
Yeah.
And I think if you were launching on your own at the moment, anybody launching on their own at the moment has got so many more hurdles to cross without even understanding what it normally looks like. So we've been able to kind of jump through hoops that other people just wouldn't even realize were there.
Absolutely. Even on Saturday when those upgrades were happening and I couldn't register the show. And I know one of your team spent the whole of Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember which day it was now, trying to sort that out in the background, So I always, I'm a firm believer, do the things that you do best. I'm good at communicating and speaking and being with my clients. And that's all I had to do on this podcast. And then hand everything over to you, which has been perfect for me.
Yeah, and that is the reality of what we do. Once we've done the consultancy parts, we've worked out that we're actually going to be supporting you to get the right mission out there, which is really important, I think, to get real clarity on your message. We then have sort of arranged the agency so that you literally record and then we take care of the rest, and that's it. Obviously, we liaise about the design and the branding and all of the elements of the show. What I'd love for you to share, Lisa, is what was it that brought you to wanting to launch a podcast in the first place? Why was that important to you?
I've had it in my mind for a while, and I think I've heard your name mentioned through various people. So I had your name in my head. Oh, if I'm going to do it, I should talk to Anna, But I think I've tried different routes to sort of get my voice out in the world. And I had a Facebook group, and I don't know, it just didn't work for me. I don't know why. It probably wasn't my right target market, actually. But I've known that I want to do something that gets my voice out into the world. And I want to be a speaker. That's my other thing that I'm going to move into this year. So I feel like the podcast was a great way for me to transition from being more working with organizations and big leaders into more of that mass market space. And that's really what I wanted to do. So I was looking, I love your new branding and, making your voice louder and all of that stuff, because I just feel like I've been quite emotional this week, actually, getting feedback from people, because I think it's allowed me to be on my bigger mission. And that's really what I was looking to do, was to be one of those voices in the world that creates change.
Yeah, and what I think I kind of want to highlight here is that you are working with extremely high caliber individuals, household names, and what then become their corporations, but that don't start off as corporations, can't start off as those seedlings of ideas. And whilst you're doing incredible, powerful work like that, you're not somebody who's coming to us to launch a podcast who already knows that you've got an email list of 50,000 people or 80,000 people following you on Instagram. So we knew that in order to reach the people that you want to reach, in some ways you've not got those kind of numbers on your side, but it's important to get that message out there anyway.
Yeah.
So talk through, for those watching, what's happened for your show then. What have been the highlights of this week?
So I want to highlight something actually just popped into my mind when you were saying earlier, because what you did brilliantly at the beginning is articulate what the podcast was about. And, we talked about that, and you have a real skill for that. And actually, that's been really helpful for me, even beyond the podcast, because I've been flip-flopping around for a while about where exactly I'm going to focus. So I think it's actually beyond the podcast. I've now created my website as, for visionary founders. And I feel so much more aligned in that message now than I did before we had those conversations. So I want to say the impact of that is kind of bigger than I anticipated. And then to be in the charts around like other amazing, like as you say, people with like thousands and God knows how many people on their list, and to be able to play in that same space has been really exciting. So I think at one point we were 53 on the top business charts in the UK, which I was just like, wow. And I was looking around me going, oh, I'm in the same category as these guys. That's amazing. And we finished at number 10 in the UK entrepreneurial charts, which again, to be in the top 10 of all the entrepreneurs in the UK. And coming back to what you said, it's not like I have a massive following and a massive list. And I did have a bit of a wobble about that before we launched, of going, my God, maybe it'll flop. Maybe nobody will listen. But, and I said, I can't say that I understand everything you do behind the scenes, but I know everything you've done to optimize it. And I'm astonished by where I've got to, quite honestly, and the reaction that it's had,
So let's talk about that then. Let's talk about the feedback and the validation that you've received from people people you don't know. Describe what that's been like.
What's been interesting is I was traditionally somebody that would work with groups or one-on-one. So I'd be a one-on-one coach with people, or I'd work with a group of, say, 12 people. And that's great, but you're only impacting on 12 people at a time. And that's why I wanted to do something bigger. Mm-hmm. And what's been interesting is that the feedback has been like, oh, you've kind of reignited my sense of my vision in myself listening to this podcast, or you've made me feel creative again, or this has changed for me as a result of listening to this. And that's been the best thing for me, because I'm kind of like, oh my God, it's actually, even though I'm not personally working with them, it's actually changing something in their life. And that's a big shift for me. And I knew I could do that. I didn't have a lack of confidence about that, but I just didn't have the forum. So now it's like I'm going to go and record my next batch. I feel super motivated. So I cannot wait to go and record the next ones. Because I feel like, oh, okay. So then, and just coincidentally, I did a big session for L'Oreal, which is one of my clients, last Friday, in the midst of all this stuff going on, to 400 people. And I've had amazing feedback from that too. So it's really sort of reignited my passion to kind of speak and do things on a bigger, global, collective scale, And
I appreciate you saying that it's not just about us working out how we optimize the podcast. That is what we do. But one of the things I was really passionate about, and it's become kind of the branding for my new podcast website, is that what we do is we help leaders get louder. But in order to do that, you've got to be super clear on your message. And I feel that is something that, above and beyond many other production agencies, that is something we are skilled to do. Because, and actually pretty much every single entrepreneur that's worked with us, people who've been coaching for years, who are coaching thousands of people, how often are they actually looking at the clarity of their own message and the clarity of their own vision and the clarity of their own voice in that? And we often hear back that not only have we given clarity to the podcast and literally what to say and how to deliver it, but that informs all sorts of shifts about what people actually want to be delivering into the world anyway, which for me, that's where my two worlds collide. That's where, yes, we have all the production stuff, but what I feel like I'm personally here to do is help people reach the masses, but it's always one person at a time. So
I was going to say, when we originally had a conversation and I was like, well, sort of this, sort of that, blah, blah, blah. And then you wrote the description for the website and the introduction and whatever. And I have to say, I was blown away by that, because I was kind of like, oh my God, like you said to me, what do you want to change? And I was like, like a couple of words, like, and I do think that, because I know what I do with clients is help articulate things that they can't see from a very energetic kind of space, actually. And so I feel like somehow, and it was only an hour conversation we had, right, probably less on the actual brand bit, you just kind of managed to somehow channel it through and hone it down into something that was really powerful and also optimized for search engines and all of those things. And that blows my mind because I'm not someone that can do things in concise ways. And so for you to make it optimized and also describe me, honestly, I think that's probably been one of the most powerful parts of the process for me.
Amazing. Well, so pleased for you. It was lovely. It's not what we always say to people. Yes, it's wonderful when we get the top charting numbers, the top tens, whatever. But and some people kind of go, oh, well, does it really matter? For me, it does matter in that the more people we can get to see you in launch week, the more your show is going to grow organically. And it is
Yes.
kind of fun and it's a bit cool to get those numbers. But really, the impact of a podcast is getting the message right and being able to be now found by those people who need to hear about you. And that is a much longer term process. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm thrilled for you that we've managed to get you your top 10 podcast, and massive good luck with getting the Visionary Founders podcast out there. So any of you who are listening, do go and check out the Visionary Founders podcast with Lisa, and we'd love to know what you think. So give feedback to myself, give feedback to Lisa. We'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for everything, Anna. You and the team and everyone have been brilliant. So there's no way I could have done that on my own. So I am deeply grateful to you, really.
Oh, well, that's fabulous to hear. Really, as you know, I throw myself into the work. I love it. I feel like I'm birthing a project for someone every time we launch.
I birthed it as well. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, great. Well, congratulations and go and enjoy your celebration this weekend.
Thank you very much. And you.